If you are a Vancouver Canucks fan, I have one question for you. Are you ready? Boom, boom, ba-ding, down. Okay, no, all DX jokes aside, are you ready to piss off Toronto Maple Leafs fans today, baby? Look, I get it. This is some very, what is the word? Argumentative, confrontational language, but in this video, what we're going to be doing is taking a look at a Twitter post made by Byron Bader. Yeah, this is the guy who did hockeyprospect.com, and he posts the NHL prospect graphs and charts once in a while to usually a lot of popularity, and he posted this thing earlier this week that I wanted to go out there and talk about because in this recent post, Byron Bader compares two prospects, one from the Vancouver Canucks system and one from the Toronto Maple Leafs system, and the comparison itself is kinda nutty. This is the post made right here. I'm just noticing that Anthony Romani of the Vancouver Canucks, whom the team drafted in the 6th round in 2024, he was a July overager really exploding in his draft plus 1 year. The type of late draft is almost over swing that I love. He had a similar draft year and draft plus 1 year to Easton Cowan, who is becoming quickly one of the Leafs' best prospects. And if you take a look at the chart posted by Byron Bader, you see two names, Anthony Romani, drafted by Vancouver, and Easton Cowan, drafted by Toronto, exhibiting both very similar profiles in their draft-eligible and draft plus 1 hockey playing years. This is kind of ridiculous, and if you wanted to go out there and bring up some of the names that they're compared to, okay, both of these guys have very mid to low odds at becoming stars at the NHL level, decent chances at becoming actual NHL players. The names that are actually listed out here as comparisons, I mean, the only big one, Chris Kreider, Mark Jankowski, Pascal Dupuis, this is listed out here for Easton Cowan. Meanwhile, Anthony Romani has nobody that you will be actually familiar with. Either way, though, this is a conversation that I wanted to dive into, especially since we do have access to the Elite Prospects Compare and Contrast tool, because when it comes to Anthony Romani, Vancouver Canucks prospect that was drafted in the 6th round, 167th overall, as Byron Bader said, this is a draft plus 1 player. He was undrafted in his first year of draft eligibility. He was born on July 12, 2005, so he was eligible for 2023, but in 2023, he only had 43 points in 66 games played, so nobody drafted him. This season, though, he exploded with 111 points and 58 goals in 68 games played. Romani was an OHL beast, and he had led the entire league in goal scoring, was also second in overall points. Romani is a swing that the Vancouver Canucks took because, hey, this guy produced a lot of points, and we want to see if this guy actually has it in him to become an NHL caliber guy. There was, of course, a lot of hype around this player after he was drafted. We made the video talking about his profile and everything, and especially for a guy taken towards the end of the 2024 draft, you just kind of go with whatever, right? At that point, it's like, hey, this guy was the #1 goal scorer in the OHL, and he's available. If we had drafted this guy last year in 2023 with a 7th round pick, and he ended up having the breakout season he had in 23-24, everybody would have been freaking out about how good he was, right? So it makes sense to just kind of take a swing on him now. So, with the Vancouver Canucks housing Romani in their prospect system, with this comparison posted by Byron Bader between Romani and Easton Cowan, things get very, very interesting when you think about both of these guys and how their careers have continued. Cowan was also born in 2005, just a month before Anthony Romani. He was taken in the 1st round, 28th overall by Toronto in 2023, and followed up his 22-23 draft-eligible season with a 96-point campaign in 54 games played. 34 goals, 62 assists. He also was almost a double point per game guy in the OHL playoffs, so you could definitely understand how it is that Easton Cowan quickly shot up the rankings for Toronto Maple Leafs prospect coverage. I think he had a point streak that was like rivaling Connor McDavid's or something like that. It was kind of crazy. I don't have the numbers in front of me right here, but it was good enough to the point that it was making headlines. Now, if you wanted to go out there and talk about both of these guys side by side and debate as to whether or not one is better than the other, let's go out there and use the Elite Prospects Compare and Contrast tool, because this does provide some very interesting perspective on this discussion. If you take a look at their draft-eligible seasons, both Romani and Cowan had similar point production. 53 points in 68 games played for Cowan, 43 points in 66 games for Romani. Romani was, of course, worse, but Romani also did go undrafted. Meanwhile, Cowan went in the first round. The year after, though, draft plus one, Romani blew Cowan out of the water with goals, and he was top in points as well. Now, I will say that just because the numbers align this way, there's a reason that Anthony Romani was taken so late in the draft as a re-entry and not anywhere in the first 3 rounds. There are some questions as to whether or not his point-producing ability will actually carry over into higher levels of play. There are some questions about his pace and what he needs to improve upon to get to professional hockey and continue scoring at the rates that he is at. I'd say that Easton Cowan, one of the things that makes him super effective as a prospect is his pace. He's got speed, he's got skill, he's got a work ethic that really carries him, whilst all having that offensive touch as well. So there's a lot going on here for Cowan that I think makes him a more projectable NHL piece. It's just right now, when you talk about pure point production, Anthony Romani kind of has him beat there. Which is why, if you take a look at the Byron Bader piece, let's go back over and take a look at it here. Anthony Romani has a 13% chance of becoming an NHL star and a 44% chance of becoming an NHL player. Meanwhile, Easton Cowan has a 20% chance of becoming a star, 52% chance of becoming an NHL player. It's like that scene in Pearl where Mia Goth gets rejected at the audition. I'm a star! Look, I'm a star! Easton Cowan has a slightly higher percentage of being that, despite the fact that these guys were taken in wildly different positions. Cowan, first round 2023, Romani, 6th round 2024. So with this in mind, I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you've been paying attention to the OHL, you've been keeping up to date with the scorers and everything that's going on in that scene, what are your opinions about how these guys project and whether or not they actually do have similar enough profiles, talent-wise, to be put in a side-by-side comparison? Should you not even be thinking about this because, hey, one is super high up in the draft and he's arguably the best prospect in Toronto's system, the other was a 6th-rounder? Or is there more similar with these guys than not? I think point production is the only thing that you could really compare and contrast the two with. They play very different styles of games, but either way, I did find this super interesting enough to bring up in a video, which is why we decided to talk about this one here today. And besides, as I've been saying this entire offseason, there's like nothing else to talk about, man. This has been a really slow and dead offseason, especially compared to prior years. Like, in years past, we always had like a guy that was going to be traded, and we had a lot of rumors coming out, and we had multiple stories about free agents that still could have signed, but now it's like everything is down in the dumps. Nobody talks about Zagra's trade rumors anymore. Nobody cares about Patrick Laine. Nobody cares about Rucker McGroarty. It's all done. So we got to do our best in filling up time here, and videos like these certainly go out there and help get that done. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Anthony Romani and Easton Cowan. I hope you enjoyed this video, and bye.